Welcome to the Tell Us Ellis podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Jamie and Kevin back at it again for another week. Murph, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm getting ready for the holidays. I got my sweatshirt on.
Exterior illumination. Didn't you? Isn't that your specialty?
Yeah. I got one of many.
Man, it is a good shirt. There's no doubt about it. 'Tis the season to be holly.
Yes, it is.
Or Mary, or whatever it is.
That's my name.
My, what a great show. Well, Murph, we're back
No
at
shit.
it. That whole sequence is just perfect. Absolutely love it. We're recording this on a Saturday, so some football's already taken place, including last night. College football playoff game number 1. We're sitting here before the second game starts. Let's talk about it. What did you see? What did you think?
Wow. I thought, and you and I talked, we talked before the show and stuff, and I was on the phone with Eckenroth I was texting Eckenroth, and it was right around like that halfway point of the second quarter, and we both texted like, this is the NCAA's worst nightmare. Like this game was starting to look like Oklahoma could win that game by 34 points, and fate had a different way of writing the script, I guess. I mean, as fate had it, it just wasn't the way it was supposed to be, I guess.
So exactly 12 hours ago, a certain someone, maybe on this podcast right now, made a post on X that said, 3, soon to be 4-loss Alabama team was never the right choice for the college football committee. Bad committee decision. Notre Dame would have been better.
Who was that?
That would have been me. And I ate a little crow after that. But
where I'm going with it, like when you posted that, like we were probably, half of America was probably in the same mindset. Like the NCAA got it wrong.
You got to give Alabama credit. And I never thought that would happen. I was kind of flipping back and forth. There was a fight last night, Jake Paul, and I was kind of flipping back and forth between opening bouts and the game. And when it was 17-0, I was kind of checked out of the football game, and I turned it back, and it was 17-10.
Yeah. Yep.
6.
I was watching the game with Wildy, and Oklahoma was up 17-0. They had just got a completion. It was probably like a 25, 30-yard completion. It was a chunk play, and they had gotten down to gotten to midfield. And I think Oklahoma's next 2 plays, one was like a really wasteful quarterback draw, and then the other one was a run play. And Wildy just made mention right there. He goes, I didn't like those 2 play calls. As soon as a quarterback draw was called, he didn't like that, and he didn't like the run. He said it's too conservative. It's too conservative. And in hindsight, I really think that was maybe Oklahoma's downfall of just not stepping on the throat, as they say, putting a team away. And then you had that one mistake, a pick six. In any playoff format, a pick six is just really, really tough. It's a loss of possession. It results in points. You could argue at worst case, it was a 10-point swing in the game because Oklahoma should have ended up with 3 points on that drive. At worst case.
Is that Oklahoma's coach, Brent Venables? Is that just him being under the spot, not under the spotlight, but under the big lights, huge game, up 17-0? I'm just going to go conservative. We're going to milk this a little bit. Is that a little inexperience coming in on his part, do you think, or it just happened?
I think it just happened. I think there's probably a bunch of during the week between the staffs, defense and offense, and how are we going to attack this? What kind of pace do we want to set? Who do we want to look like? I think that probably was on the offensive coordinator. I think he was rolling. Things were going great, and sort of like those 2 run plays, work a little clock. Let's just get our points. And you just cannot, you don't know what a pick six does to a team. Like the sidelines go quiet. You don't know what happened. It was like we were doing so well, and now we're on, getting the ball on the receiving team. Like what just happened? You know what I mean? Like why you know, and I do think it has and can have legs with a quarterback. Now, this kid appeared to shake it off. I don't, he's a player. I can't say his last name, so Matir or something.
Yeah.
He's a competitor. He did not look like the deer in the headlights, but it's a 10-point swing.
He made some pretty incredible throws, and there was that one catch on the sideline was unbelievable. I don't know if it was a catch or not. You know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I
I don't know if it was a catch.
I felt like he kind of was not holding on to it on the sideline.
There was movement.
The other thing I wanted to bring up was I think it was Oklahoma. I think it was Venables chewing out his defensive player or special teams player on that one play. I don't know if you saw it. I mean, he absolutely went ballistic on the sidelines. And then one of his coordinators did the same. That was intensity at its highest.
Yeah, I think that was a situation where it wasn't malicious, the contact. I think the quarterback or the receiver did set it up, the returner. I think it was a returner, and he did set it up. And there was a hand. Like if you really watched it, there was a hand on the Alabama player on the Oklahoma player's back.
Yeah. It almost looked like he wanted to push him, but then he wanted to hold him up, but then he gave him a little shove.
Well, I don't know. I thought it was somewhat ticky-tack. I imagine the conversation on with Venables and the coordinator was like, why are you even in that position?
Yeah,
like, with him with the returner in the white of the sideline, like why are you even in a position to get pushed in the back into somebody? Like, so
yeah. Is that the best game we're going to get in this first round, do you think? And I say that when you looked at the schedule, right? You've got James Madison, Oregon today. You have Tulane, Ole Miss today. They both could be a little bit on the blowout side. But then I think maybe the game of the weekend is Miami, Texas A&M.
Why does it have to be at noon?
Yeah, that's so strange. Why are they putting James Madison, Oregon in a primetime spot today? Other than it being on the West Coast, but they could have made that the 4:30 game or 3:30 game today.
It just seems like 12 so early.
The only other thing I think of, there's 2 NFL games today, Kevin. So I don't know if that's playing into it or not, but it's maybe the best game of the weekend. I don't know.
Yeah. I have some feelings on the JMU game.
Interesting. Would you like to elaborate on that?
I remember. Do you remember Maurice Clarett and Ohio State playing Miami in a national championship game?
I do.
It was a 14-point spread. It was in Florida. The game itself, I think, was in Florida. Don't quote me on that.
I believe it was.
Regardless, it looked like this was going to be a Miami Hurricane national championship number whatever for them.
Yep.
And right before the game, I just put my bet in for Miami. I just solidified my wager, and it was considerable. And I'm watching the game, and I'm all pumped up, and there's that cheater McSweatervest, Jim Tressel. That's what I call him, Cheater McSweatervest. I don't like Jim Tressel.
I understand, but compare what he did to what coaches do nowadays.
Yeah, it was nothing.
It wasn't that bad.
It wasn't anything.
But
it wasn't
anyway.
anything. Like, I just remember he was being interviewed, and the camera was on, and right before the interview, Cheater McSweatervest Tressel fixes the announcer's lapel, and he's like, I'm just going to use a name. Frank, we got to get you looking better. Come on, this is a national championship game. Come on. And he fixes the lapel, and I was like, they're going to win the game. Ohio State's going to win the game. He's that comfortable before kickoff. He knows something I don't. He's going to win the game. And then I was in that no man's land. Do I take a bet off the table? Do I go the other way? I was losing regardless that night, and I knew it the moment he touched the lapel. And if you remember the game, it was a dominant performance by Ohio State. I mean, it was a close game and everything. It went down to the wire. But for a game that was a 14-point spread, Ohio State just took it to them. And I had this sneaky suspicion. I watched the JMU coach get interviewed.
Yeah.
And I flashed back to that moment with Tressel. And I thought, man, he's really comfortable. He's relaxed. And then you start stepping back and you look at their situation. Well, an amicable split, right? Nobody's angry at anybody. He's leaving. You and I talked about it, he's leaving the program in great hands. A lot of loving, a lot of like, this is our last ride together. Everyone in this locker room, you'll always have a place in my heart, and let's just keep this thing going. Let's get one more game out of this wonderful season we're having and stuff. And what does that look like? It looks like JMU being able to control the ball more than Oregon expected them to.
Yes.
JMU's 3-star athletes performing better than Oregon's transfer portal, what do you want to call it, like an Argyle team, right? Just pieces and parts that are brought together. But you have a JMU team that those seniors have played with each other a long time. That team is tight. And I think that game could be the surprise of the weekend.
JMU. If you look at JMU, they dominated pretty much the whole year. Their toughest opponent was Louisville, and they lost 28-14, but they played really well. They were in the game. I hear you, Kevin. I think I would love to see that. I mean, I've been a big James Madison fan, especially getting into the playoff. To travel across the country, to go into a hostile environment, Oregon.
I look at that the other way. I look at it the other way.
I look at it as, lose?
Well, absolutely. 100% nothing to lose. Those kids have, and that coaching staff, they have nothing to lose. They lose that game by 10.
Yeah, they're heroes.
It's a moral victory. Now, nobody wants moral victories in a playoff scenario, right? There's one winner, one loser. But what you just said, I always find interesting, is you take a group of young men, you fly them all the way across the country, right? That's, to me, that galvanizes a team.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, I'm looking at their schedule. I don't think they traveled outside of a 500-mile radius all season. Just looking at their games.
I just look at it the other way. And you know where I look at it a lot too is the NFL. In that second round of the playoffs, when the wild cards survive.
Yeah.
I think one of the most dangerous teams is second round of the NFL playoffs, wild card winner who was on the road.
Yeah.
Because now they're going on the road twice. And that's just a guy in a locker room saying, nobody wants us to do this. Nobody wants us here. Nobody wants us to win. The NCAA doesn't want JMU to win. It's the world against us.
So we don't just claim to talk football. Kevin is giving all the bettors out there very good betting advice. You're giving away all your secrets, Kevin. So if you looked at today's games, again, great contest last night. Happy that Alabama moves on. Happy for the committee standpoint. They'll go on to play Indiana now next round, which I do want to talk about that in a second. We're not doing our $10,000 picks or anything, but Kevin, just going through the games today. So 12 o'clock, you've got Miami plus 3.5 at Texas A&M. Where are you leaning there with the spread? Where are you leaning?
What's the over under in that?
48.5.
Gosh, I think that's obviously a tough game to call.
If I was doing over under, I think I'd lean towards the under. I think
so.
Yeah. Texas A&M is such a professional team, I feel like.
The guys I was talking with, how would you have played last night's game? The guys I was with all had the over. And I don't know that I would have seen that, but
I don't think I would have gone the over.
I like your under call for today at noon, just because I think it's like a feeling out process. I think it's going to be like a boxing match in some ways. Everybody's just going to sort of look at each other and sort of figure out where they stand. So I would probably go under for today. If I was to bet anything, I think I would bet under in the first game.
I think I would do the under. I think if I had to take points, I think I'd take Texas A&M minus the 3.5.
It's hard not to.
And, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I just think if Miami gets down, could they implode a little bit? I just think they have this characteristic of a team that if they're winning, they can lay it on, but if they're in trouble, they are going to they might implode. So I think Texas A&M at home minus the 3.5. I would do that. I'm not going to parlay it with the over under or anything like that, but
No.
I would do those two.
I actually, as you were just talking and explaining it, I think the likelihood of this one getting away from Miami is better than Miami getting away from Texas A&M, right? Like
Yeah,
that's a tough place to play, and if they're winning, like Oklahoma had all that momentum, Jamie.
I
Like if
know.
you're Texas A&M, are you having a discussion with your co-coordinators and staff like we are not going to have that happen?
I know.
Like
I know.
like if we are up on these guys, this is the playoffs and you have to put people away.
Yeah. And look, Texas A&M, I think that home field advantage is important. Remember, they
Oklahoma
just
though,
lost.
right?
They
Oklahoma had home field advantage. That's a tough
Yeah,
place. I've been there. I've
that's
been to
fair.
Oklahoma, and that is a great football fan base.
Well, did the pregame, like right before the kickoff, did you see the stadium and the light show they were putting on? And they were getting everybody fired up. I was listening to McAfee on ESPN. He was all pumped up. I even think Saban was getting pumped up, a guy that doesn't get pumped up, I don't think.
Don't they do a Toby Keith song to get the crowd going? I think that
Is that what it was?
they've adopted a Toby Keith song, I thought, and that's sort of their thing.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
Renegade for the Steelers, like I think they play Toby Keith songs throughout the game in certain moments.
Well, then at 3:30, we have Tulane at Ole Miss. And
I
Tulane,
think that's the one that gets ugly.
do you?
I do, Jamie. I think you have a team on the road, right? Tulane. But I think you have another team that has a story. Ole Miss. Who are
Definitely.
we? Was it Lane
Yeah.
Kiffin or was it the players?
Yeah.
There's so many ways to spin this in Ole Miss's favor. If
Yeah.
they got hot, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Kevin, you changed my mind on it. I am all in on Ole Miss now. You know the spread on that one?
21.5 or something?
Minus 17.5. So that's going to make
Yeah.
you even feel better. The over-under is 57.5. I think they're just playing it as what if Ole Miss
It
does
gets out
just-
of hand.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then the night game tonight, we talked about it, James Madison at Oregon. That's the one, Kevin. James Madison's getting 20.5 on the road. 45.5 is the over-under, which is a little surprising.
Well, not if JMU does what I say they're going to do. Not
Ball
if they're going
control.
to, yeah,
Yep.
a little
Yep.
keep away. Like if you're at James Madison and first of all, you think you're being disrespected. And the reality is you're not going to know how those offensive and defensive lines are going to compete until the snap of the ball. You can do everything you want on paper. You can say this, you can say that. But the reality is until that ball gets kicked and they have that first snap, you don't know. What if
it'll be-
JMU runs for like 6 yards on the opening carry and like you
Yeah.
got Oregon guys going, huh? I didn't see that coming. Like,
Yeah. I thought we were gonna have an easy day.
we have all these 5-stars.
I'm glad that game, by the way, is a 7:30 game. Hopefully they play the way that we hope they do, and it's an exciting game. But it'll be good to see that at home tonight. If I was betting it, I would probably take the 20.5 and just roll with James Madison. And if you go that way, you probably want to take the under if you're assuming
I
there's
would-
going to be more ball control.
I would think teasers are for losers, but that would be a good tease.
Who says teasers are for losers? I didn't know I was a loser.
I had a buddy who I was having breakfast with on a Sunday, and his bookie had just introduced the 3-team teaser for 10
Boy.
points. And his
Boy.
line was, how do you lose?
You and I can both tell him.
Let me go over how you can lose.
So let's flip to the NFL now, and let's take a look first at last week's games. You know, this playoff race, it's coming down to the end, and every game counts. I'll tell you, I got crushed last week on our picks. I mean, I was awful. I lost, let's see, seven, about $4,000 of our $10,000.
Now, if you take a zero off of that, that would have been what you would have lost in 1997.
Good
400.
point. That makes me feel better. You pretty much broke even for the week, so nice job. Nice job by you.
Thank you.
We started off the week with the Falcons beating the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers just continue to kind of have this downward spiral. Who's going to win that division? Does Carolina? I mean,
I think they're my new. I think they're my.
Yeah,
right?
I think so. Yeah, I think me too. I mean, they have a huge game this weekend. We'll get into it. Tampa and Carolina, but 7-7 is Carolina. Tampa is 7-7. I mean, this week is huge. Absolutely huge.
You see that happen fast, like how teams can become the darling, right? The favorite. And
Sure.
it all stems from that win Carolina had at home in the rain.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
For one reason or another, I was watching it, more of it. I do a lot of the red zone, so I was like in tune with that game more than I would have been otherwise. Yeah, you can see some momentum. I personally would love to see Carolina get hot.
Well, they've got today's game or this weekend's game against Tampa. They also play in 2 weeks. So the head-to-head's going to determine the division. No doubt about it. What's going on with Tampa?
I don't know. That's another team that's easy to root for.
Sure.
You know, but something is going on there, I think.
Is Mayfield injured maybe? Because he is not the same quarterback he was at the beginning of the season. I remember watching a Sunday night game. I think it was a Sunday night. Maybe it was a Monday night game very early in the season, maybe even week 2. It was Tampa at Houston, and Baker ended up bringing the team down. They scored the winning drive, and he ran the ball in a couple of plays and got hit really hard, and he just puts his body out there. Is that catching up to him now?
Jamie, if that was the news that he was injured, boy, that would make sense.
Yeah.
To what's going on there. But the NFL season's a long season.
Yeah.
And you see teams get in ruts and 3-week spans, 4-week spans where they don't look themselves. I don't know. I don't know what the story is there, Jamie. I agree, though, Baker Mayfield doesn't have the same feel of the early season Baker Mayfield. So, yeah, an injury there or something, that could explain a lot.
And then Kirk Cousins kind of led the Falcons in that game. Looked really good. I mean, 30 of 44 for 373 yards and 3 touchdowns. Maybe it's not all on Baker. Maybe it's the defense of Tampa based on those numbers.
Cousins is an interesting cat. Like, that's a guy you just don't want to play. God forbid you say something wrong that upsets him, or you show that you don't respect him or that you underestimate him. He just seems to be a guy. And another, he's like Mendoza sort of. He's like an oh shucks, golly gee guy. But man, guys play for him. Like, people like Kirk Cousins. His team, like, he takes a team over and they play hard for him. The defense and the everybody.
Is there any doubt in your mind that he is going to be an NFL coach someday? I mean, he just
looks it.
He has the pedigree. Yeah, he
has a demeanor of it, quite honestly, right? He carries himself as such.
Yeah, I would not be surprised at all. And it's I think his father was a coach for a long time.
His father was his coach, I think.
Yeah, yes.
In high school, I think.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. I think it was on that quarterback show.
Because he's another dude that got no stars or something. Like, he wasn't getting the offers that he had hoped or anticipated for and stuff. And I'm pretty sure his dad was his high school coach.
Kevin, what do you think of Bijan Robinson? Really, one of the best running backs in the NFL, right?
Yeah. The question is, for how long? I mean, you see,
so that's my question.
Running backs come and go; they just do.
So that was where I was going with this question. I started looking last night. I mean, back 20 years ago, running backs were everything, right? Teams would invest in running backs, just unbelievable.
And they would feed them. You would get 25 carries a game. You would get,
Sean Alexander. I went and looked at the the top salary growth among every position in the NFL. And this went back 20 years. And for instance, quarterbacks, their compensation has grown 4 times over the last 20 years. Wide receivers, 3.8 times. Offensive line, over 3 times. You get to running back and it's 2.5 times.
If you're interested, I have thoughts on that. Here's my thoughts. So if you're good enough to be in the NFL, if you're good enough to compete at the top level with the top athletes in the world, here's my thoughts on running back. If the lineman does their job, so the line opens the hole, the linemen get to the secondary blocks, which is the linebacker. The receivers are doing their blocking. It usually leaves a 1 or a 2-on-1 situation for the running back. Here's where I think NFL GMs have gotten to. If I have an athlete that's good enough and my team opens that hole and opens that secondary hole, what's the difference? I'm getting 8 yards. There might be 1% of the guys out there that can turn that 8 yards into 73 yards.
Yeah.
But be honest, that's a long shot play in a lot of ways. And so if you have 3 guys that you pay less that can get you that 8 yards, when the hole is there, they're an NFL caliber player. They're going to hit that hole.
Yeah, you don't have to be this multi-dimensional player, right? A quarterback might have a great offensive line that can block for him, but he still has to throw the ball and connect with the receiver. A receiver needs to get open, needs to catch the ball, all of those things.
Needs to beat his man, sure.
A running back, and I'm not trying to diminish it, but you're right. If the offensive line is blocking, then he just has to hit the hole. And look, there's moves they have to make. I get that, but I was just shocked.
But if you're good enough to be in the NFL, you have those moves.
Very true. Very true.
And if you're good enough to be in the NFL, you have that speed to hit that hole as fast as you need to get to 8 yards, 10 yards, or 12 yards, or whatever. It's the very few that can turn that into the 85-yard touchdown.
The running back salary growth was lower than every position I looked at, though. I just was stunned by it. And I've heard it, and I understand. And you're right, there is a longevity question there, too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when they blow out their tire, they're pretty much done,
well,
right?
To everything we're saying, if you have that step, but once you lose that step, then you're playing in the CFL.
Yeah.
Because there's 38 guys that have that step still.
Yeah.
And I think coordinators from an offensive standpoint, when you mentioned those days of the Sean Alexanders and stuff, there was definitely a different mindset, right? And now we open the field up and we spread things out and all that. And I think you can't just have that one running back, because you need that one running back that can go out and catch. You need the one running back that can pass block for you. You need the one running back that can hit the hole, right?
Yes,
so you need more of we're asking more of the running back. So you need to divide that work up. And I think in essence, you can't pay them. You can't pay one guy the large sum. You got to spread that out.
Yeah. The idea of an every down back is just gone in the NFL.
It is gone. I think it's gone in the collegiate level. It's gone.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, moving on to a couple other games. My Colts, man, they lost a heartbreaker, and I do want to talk about Phillip Rivers. You know, it was a huge story around here all week, obviously.
I think it was a huge story everywhere. It was interesting.
Well, what you gotta love about Phillip Rivers is the guy loves to play, loves to win, and he wears it on his face. I mean, you said this last week. Like he will get, and my dog agrees with me. He will get into players' faces. He will celebrate. He carries his emotions. Look, his numbers, I don't even care about his numbers last week. He almost willed them to a win over what I think is a pretty good Seahawks team.
I think a very good Seahawks team in a tough environment. That Seahawks team is worth talking about, and I imagine we're going to be. But the Colts with Rivers was a great story. I don't know what the legs are on it, right?
Yeah.
But he helped him out in a pinch, and supposedly him and his 23 members of his family get insurance now.
Yeah, I did hear that.
For another 5 years.
That is too funny. That is interesting to see what'll happen. So I'm going to the Monday night game this week.
Cool.
Niners coming to Indy. Obviously, the Colts have to win out. Anthony Richardson's back. It would be interesting to see if you could play both of those somehow together, right? Maybe bring Richardson in for some runs or something like that. The Colts, I didn't do the calculation to see if they control their own destiny. They still play Jacksonville at home.
They
They
have the
still play
game
the
at
Texans.
yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not expecting it. It's really sad. I'm really upset that the season started where it did and ended where it is, but it's kind of the Phillip Rivers adds a little bit of fun to this.
Yeah, I'm not ready to give up on the Colts, but did they overachieve maybe? Yeah. You
Yeah.
know, and maybe they got everybody excited. It's there. We've talked about the Colts. What you
Yeah.
need is there.
Yeah.
So finish strong and just see where it happens. The Jacksonville game hopefully can be a huge game, right?
Yeah.
Indoors, controlled environment.
Jacksonville's playing some good football though right now, Kevin.
Yeah.
I mean, last week they beat up on the Jets 48-20. We always knew what Trevor Lawrence could be. I don't think he has been, but last week 20 out of 32, 330 yards and 5 touchdowns. Now it's against the Jets, but you still got to perform.
Yeah, it's the NFL, right? So the Jets are no Jets, it's the NFL. Trevor Lawrence, I was talking with somebody about Trevor Lawrence, and how many times have you seen an NFL franchise cut bait with some guy? How long has Trevor Lawrence been with the Jacksonville Jags?
Yeah.
So they saw
time.
something in him that allowed them to get to that second contract and stick with him. And like, who knows, with the way NFL quarterbacks are currently, like their best years are ahead of them, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Stafford's proving that. Kirk Cousins proves that. Trevor
Yeah.
Lawrence, there's no reason to think that he couldn't have a long, successful run in Jacksonville and ride off into the sunset as one of the best. They saw something in him because they didn't trade him off.
He needed this season. He needed to perform the way he is. There were a lot of question marks. You know, when I was listening to a couple, it was a podcast, I can't even remember which one it was, but they were talking about when Lawrence was going through the draft process and he was meeting with teams and so forth. You know, a lot of those teams ask him to look at a play and call out what you should do and so forth. What I had heard was that he was not very good in recognizing things, which kind of surprised me, right? And just looking at his body of work with Clemson, but that he wasn't as astute as, you know, some of the others that come out of college. And yeah.
If you remember those Clemson teams, though, I mean, they were loaded with athletes. And he ran the ball quite a bit then.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a beautiful run in a national championship game against, like, you know, premier athletes and went like 75 yards or something. Like, it was a crazy long run.
Yeah.
But he was much more an athlete and probably could rely on his athleticism. So maybe he wasn't as strong with the X's and O's.
Yeah. He wasn't set up to be. Maybe he wasn't set up to be based on the environment.
It wasn't required, right? It wasn't required for them to be successful. But I do think there's just something to be said for like look at all these quarterbacks that have bounced. Like Sam Darnold. Look at the amount of teams that could have been with Sam Darnold. And Daniel Jones is a prime example, like playing some great football, and the Giants just said he's not our guy. Well, you know, I don't know. We've talked about this before. I think there's so much to be gained by sitting.
Yeah. Well,
the Packers have seemed to prove sitting works.
Well, sitting and also drafting quarterbacks that had more time in college football that didn't come out like an Anthony Richardson after he played 10 games in college.
Aaron Rodgers' long career at Cal, and then Love at North Dakota. Like, you know, those are, you're right. Yeah.
I'll tell you, just sticking with the AFC South for a second, Houston is very well may be the real deal, Kevin. They started out 0-3. Since then, they beat the Titans. Okay, not a big deal. They beat the Ravens on the road. They did lose to Seattle. They beat the 49ers. They did lose to the Broncos. But then the last 6 weeks, they beat the Jags, the Titans, the Bills, the Colts, the Chiefs, and the Cardinals. They're on a roll, and their defense is good.
When you and I first started talking about this, you were high on Houston. and I wasn't. I didn't know much about them. But it's hard not to take a look at them in that division, and think that there could be a team making noise out of that division, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think it's the Colts. They're just not in a position. But the Jags, like, you could see that.
Yeah. Well, it'll, they've got the Raiders this week. Houston does. They're at the Chargers, which could be a big game. And then they finish the year against the Colts. So that could be a huge game.
If they get going on offense, obviously the defense is just
Yeah.
having an unbelievable year. That's a formula for playoff wins, right? Play good defense, don't turn the ball over on offense, low scoring games, and win.
Yeah.
Do they check those boxes? They do. Houston does.
Well, they scored 40 points last week. Again, it's against a Cardinals team that's not very good, but yeah, it's we have to keep an eye on them. A couple teams, Kevin, that I think both of us questioned one of them. The Eagles had a little redemption game last week. They knock off the Raiders 31-0. Very solid defensive performance. Hurts only threw 15 passes, but he completed 12 of them and threw for 3 touchdowns. Felt like a huge win that the Eagles needed.
Yeah, a get healthy game, right? And a get healthy game in the right ways. The York Bird Gang guys were very happy. Could not have come in at a better time, that win. And the way they won. Like I kept talking during that game, I kept saying the shutout's important. The shutout means something. They've just been lost. And
Yeah.
I think the ball got spread around a lot. Right? I think a lot of guys touched the ball. They did rely on Goddard quite a bit. He could have had another touchdown, a big day for him. It would have been 3. But maybe getting Goddard going underneath opens up Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown a little deeper so that they're not getting those 8 yards a pop. Maybe they're getting more of a chunk play at 20-plus yards. But they needed it. They got it. They should feel good. They've sort of weathered that storm we talk about teams going through in the NFL. And so let's see how they look this week, which they play tonight.
They play tonight, 5:00 at Washington. Game they should win, right? But it is on the road, and you never know. It's a divisional game. So
if they have the same type of effort, say Hurts only throws less than 20 balls, but has high completion, and defense does what they're supposed to do. Saquon Barkley looked good.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of talk. There's been a lot of talk with Eagles fans on Saquon Barkley not seeing the hole this year.
Well, I've seen.
Have you heard some rumbling? Yeah.
I've seen some videos. I mean, there are clear examples. Now, what I don't know is, are you only showing me the 3 egregious times that he missed the hole, but he's hitting it 9 out of 10 times? I don't know. But it just feels like he doesn't have, and we talked about this earlier, it just doesn't have that extra burst that he had last year. And, it's a guy, he's had knee surgery, came back, carried the load last year quite a bit. Is he just kind of at a different point in his career? Maybe.
It may be right there, right? Like if it isn't this year, it could be 2 years from now that he's at that point where he's not a featured back. But I thought he looked better. I found it interesting. Some people bringing up maybe he's not hitting the holes as fast or not seeing them. I don't know. I don't know.
Could that be more offensive line related where, they've had some injuries on their offensive line?
That could be different timing. That could be reading of the back of somebody's body that you're not used to. Yeah, absolutely. And that line has been interchanged. Like there's been pieces and parts, and I don't know. They always talk about like how many starts an offensive line has together as a group. I don't know. The Eagles have had very many as a consistent group of 5. That's been a spot for them that has been a worry.
Yeah,
just health wise.
Yeah.
So Jamie, it could be timing with the new lineman. Sure.
Yeah. Well, a couple other games kind of in the same position. The Ravens had a big shutout against the Bengals last week, 24-0. It was a game where I kind of went heavy on the Bengals just based on beating the Ravens 2 weeks before. But big win for the Ravens. They stay kind of neck and neck with the Steelers for a potential division title. This feels like it's going to come down to that late season. I think it's the last game of the year. Ravens at Steelers last game of the year. Now, saying that though, the Ravens still have the Patriots at home. They go to Green Bay and then they go to Pittsburgh. It's going to be tough to win the division.
I've sort of put the Ravens on the back burner. I'm not really.
Agree.
Yeah, I just think, and like you and I have talked about numerous times, is it time to blow it up? Like, is it time to just part ways, shake hands, and move on? I don't know.
Yeah. The Steelers, by the way, are at the Lions this week. That game's tomorrow. And then they travel to Cleveland, and then they have that Ravens game. I think in their head, they're saying to themselves, look, let us win this. Let us beat the Browns. If we can beat the Lions this weekend as well, we're going to be in pretty good shape going into that Ravens game.
Yeah. Yeah. But are you scared of anybody that comes out of there? Like, it'd be the best first game in the playoffs you could have.
Yeah.
And it has been consistently, right? Like, I don't know that they've advanced from that division. So I don't know. I sort of just shelved them. The whole division, like, I don't know.
It's been a bad run there for that division. Couple feature games from the weekend. I don't want to talk about this one that much, but Chiefs put a fork in them. Done 6-8. Patrick Mahomes, awful, right? You hate to see that, but it did feel like. Remember when Montana got knocked out of that Giants game
in the playoffs? Jim Burt hit him. Jim Burt.
And you just saw Montana and walking off the field. Now that was a concussion, I think, but like this just felt like there's a little bit of a changing of the guard. The Chiefs have to figure out that that's another team facing a lot of changes in the offseason.
You have a guy there, Mahomes, who obviously has had just an unbelievable run and a ton of success. He has the rings. He has a wonderful family. They appear to love each other and enjoy each other. Like, I don't know. Is it going to be a little hard to rehab?
Well, does he become Russell Wilson, or does he become, a Matt Stafford who had his ups and downs but has resurrected his career?
I don't know. I think time will have to tell, and it'll have to be a Mahomes decision because the work he's going to have to put in, it's not a money thing. It's not a career thing. I mean, he checks, once again, to use the expression, checks a lot of boxes. He checks a lot of boxes for a dude that could retire happily, right?
Oh, yeah. He's a legend in Kansas City.
And a good dude. Like, he doesn't have the issues and the baggage. So got a lot going for him. I don't know. Decision will be his.
His wife runs the National Women's Soccer League team, owns the National Women's Soccer League team there in town. I hope he recovers well. If the Chiefs decide to blow it up, because now they've got Kelsey potentially retiring, or who knows where he'll end up. Do you think Andy Reid, do you think this could have been his last go?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
That's a guy that's given his life to the profession, and I don't know. What else does he need to do?
That's what I was going to say. He's got nothing else to prove. I just think it runs in his blood, and we'll see what happens there.
James Franklin had a funny comment. He was just like, I don't do anything else. He's like, I don't golf. I don't do this. He's like, football's just like what I do.
Yeah. Well, he should have done.
Is Andy Reid that guy? Yeah, I don't know.
Franklin should have just done it better. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that's always a question there.
The Bills, huge win at the Patriots. The Patriots were up, 24-7, Kevin, and Bills score 14 points in the third quarter, 14 points in the fourth quarter. They're clearly saying, hold on, we're not out of this number one seed.
You got that feeling, didn't you?
Yeah. And boy, Josh Allen, I don't know, Kevin, the more I think about it, I think this is maybe the Bills' destiny this year. Kansas City's out of it.
Can you imagine them closing Orchard Park out with a Super Bowl?
It would be great. I mean, it would be
if
fantastic.
there was ever a franchise, a city, a fan base that deserves it, it's Buffalo.
Yeah.
God, they love that team, and I think you're right about that, though. I think it was like the Bills telling us, wait just a second, we're not dead.
They kind of remind me of that Colts Super Bowl team where that team started off really well, but heading into the playoffs, they had some really bad losses. And then Bob Sanders came back. He had been hurt, and it changed the complexion of that whole team. I'm not saying it's a direct analogy, but like just from a how the team is performing overall standpoint, it's like they have their mojo back a little bit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and nothing against the Patriots, but I it's been great.
I don't think it's necessarily like Patriots lost as much as the Bills won that game, right?
Yeah.
They took it. And
Yeah.
to dovetail on what you're saying with the Bills, like, was it a moment in the locker room where the coach just sits there and says, "Hey, we haven't played well, but we have all these games left. We have everything we want to achieve is still ahead of us, right? It's still there. Let's catch our breath. We are still," because you and I were talking, like, when you were looking at the Bills, you were trying to figure out why. Why
Yeah.
aren't they still dominant? What changed? And so maybe they just had a moment and got back. I think they definitely had a moment. I think they definitely got back on their mojo. So we'll see
And
how
they
they
had some
finish.
and they had some injuries along the way, and guys have stepped up, and now they're playing together a little bit more. But I was just looking; they closed the season, Kevin. Let me find it here. It's a pretty easy schedule. So they're at Cleveland tomorrow. They're home against the Eagles, which will be a very interesting game, and then they finish against the Jets at home. So they should be on a pretty good run here to head into the playoffs. Another team that's on an incredible run right now is the Denver Broncos. I mean, I did not see them.
The dangerous
Yeah.
Denver Broncos.
Boy, every time I'm like Bo Nix, he's a 85% player. Like 85% of the game he plays really well, and then there's a 15% part of the game where he just looks awful, but he's stuck with it. He had a really good game last week, 4 touchdown passes. I did not see them beating Green Bay. I have kind of thought that the Broncos were paper tigers a little bit.
Yeah, and I think I don't want to say like it exposed the Packers or anything, but like that was a game I thought the Pack should win.
Yeah.
And the fact that they didn't isn't, might offer up some questions on who the Packers really are. So who do they have this week?
Yes. Who? The
The Pack.
Broncos.
Who does the Pack have?
Let me just tell you about the Broncos quick. They have Jacksonville tomorrow, which will be a really good
That'll
game.
be a great game. What time is that one?
That's a 4:05 game. So
Good.
we get it.
Yeah.
Very good. 4:05
Yeah, that's
game.
a great game.
So they've got the Jags at home. They travel to the Chiefs, which will be a different Chiefs team. And then they finish against the Chargers, which should be a really good game. You were asking about the Packers. The Packers, they are at the Bears tonight, Kevin, which will be a huge game, right?
Yeah,
That's exciting, actually. I forgot that game was tonight.
That I didn't even see that. So I've
they're
been
at the
heavy on the
Bears.
NCAA.
Yeah, they're at the Bears tonight. They are home against the Ravens on the 27th. And then they finish at the Vikings.
So it's interesting, right? Like say the Ravens drop out. Like what does that game look like? What looked like a tough game on paper now becomes a different, like you said with Denver, a different Chiefs team, right? Like
Yeah.
you looked at that game at one point, you're like, that's a loss. Now you look at it, it's like a W. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the Pack finishes. I like that lineup. I'm not, we can handle our stuff. So let's see.
Well, it's interesting. So they have a 1.5 game lead, I guess, on Detroit. So they're 9-4. They're in the last playoff spot right now, Green Bay. They're 9-4-1. Detroit's 8-6. They're the next team in the line. I mean, Detroit still has an opportunity to take that away from the Packers. The other thing you have to look at, though, is the Bears are 10-4. So it's a 3-team race there. You have to feel pretty good about Chicago and Green Bay. I think Detroit still questionable.
Yeah,
but,
I agree with that.
Yeah,
and I think Detroit has a lot of question marks around it. I don't know.
feels like the playoff races are pretty much other than division champion versus wild card, at least in the NFC. It's going to be a question of, is it Detroit, Chicago, or Green Bay? Feels like 2 of those 3 are going to get in. In the AFC, again, feels like it's a Houston, Indy, really Houston Indy conversation. I think Kansas City's out. Indy's 8-6. Houston's 9-5. One of them are in, one of them are out.
Yeah, those two teams would be a good representation, like a good matchup.
Yeah. One thing I want to ask you quick, Kevin, before we get into our picks for the week. I want to give you coaches that I think are on the hot seat, and you tell me you agree, disagree, or just will they be coaching for the same team next year? So I'm going to start in Arizona, Jonathan Gannon.
Definitely a hot seat. Could
So
make
they
it.
are
Could make
they're
a
3 and
case. Could make a
3-11
case.
this
There's
year.
been a lot of things that have happened to him. Is Kyler Murray the guy? Like what? Like
I know. We talked about that last week. I
yeah,
don't know if he
is
is.
this experiment over? Do they have the data they need to make a decision? And if you make that decision, do you make it with Gannon?
Well, and if you have a chance to draft a quarterback, a good young quarterback, I'm not saying Mendoza would be there, but let's say Mendoza was there. Do you draft a quarterback? I don't know.
Yeah,
Let
I
me
don't.
move on. Falcons, Raheem Morris.
Gone.
I completely agree.
Yeah, that's a franchise that people don't really know. I didn't know till I went to a game there. Atlanta is obviously just huge transplant. Everybody who lives in and around the
Yes.
Atlanta area never grew up there.
Yeah.
Everybody adopts the team. They adopt the Falcons, they adopt the Braves, and they're a big sports town. No, I think he's gone. I don't think this season keeps him.
Yeah, you mentioned Atlanta. You know, they have a Major League Soccer team. They draw really, really well.
Yeah,
It is a huge sports town. Kevin Stefanski of the Browns.
stays.
I like Stefanski. I don't think he's been given what he needs to succeed. It's been
No,
a quarterback mess
Yeah, I don't know.
forever.
I think he stays because just the eyeball test. Yeah, I think he has those guys. I think he's getting the most out of them, right?
Yeah.
He's getting the most out of the cards that he has to deal with. Yeah, I think he stays.
Great defense. He has a great defense. Two more. Zach Taylor, Bengals. Is it time to say, you know what? We've tried this. I know there's been injuries with Burrow and so forth, but do you get a more experienced coach in there?
If you're a Bengals fan, God, you got to be thinking the last 3 years have been a missed opportunity. I mean, right? It's got to be extremely frustrating. And when you get to those situations, we were just talking about it sort of in Atlanta. If you're a Bengal faithful, you've given everybody enough time and you've sort of had the same result every year. So maybe I don't think he's there.
Yeah. Mike McDaniel of the Dolphins.
Yeah, I don't think he's there.
I don't either. It's interesting that they kept him, fired the GM. I didn't know why that was. Look, Mike McDaniel, he's an interesting guy. I love watching him speak. He's just out there, right? But yeah, I don't know. It feels like if they had a quarterback solution there, maybe things are a little bit different. But
It's like sometimes you get frustrated with sports and professional franchises and like, are you familiar with the Peter principle?
oh yeah,
You
yep,
raise everybody up to
Yep.
their own level of incompetence. Like just
Yes.
because you're a great coordinator doesn't mean you're a great CEO of a company.
yeah,
So maybe McDaniel just needs to step back and just be in a room away from a microphone calling plays. To call him the face of a professional organization, I don't think I mean it. I just think he's better off as a coordinator. He was funny. It was cute. It was la ha ha ha. And now it's just old.
yeah, yeah. One
He's
more for
gone.
you. He's gone. Okay. One more. John Harbaugh. We've talked about it. Do you think they'll actually do it?
You could make a phone call and find out. I don't know. I'm all for it. Well, you look at the AFC, right? Well, look what's holding them down. The Steelers and the Ravens. Like they used to be the flagships and now they're sort of dead weight in some ways. And maybe you got to blow them both up.
It's that division
I'm
went
surprised
from
Tomlin wasn't on your list.
Well, what do you think?
I'm all for it, but I would have been all for it 3 years ago. So, like, what do I know? But the Harbaugh thing, the Tomlin thing, that division just has been stale for so long,
Yeah.
and it's there for the taking, right? Like, if you had one team that you could run away with that division and sleep well at night and just get ready for the playoffs, who knows? But it's a mess every year.
It's going to be a really interesting offseason on the coaching side, on the quarterback side. What are teams doing? Well, let's get into this week's picks. You ready?
Yep.
So we did have a game already this week, an absolute great game between Seattle and the Rams.
I fell asleep. I watched the first half, knew it was going to be a good game, knew I wanted to watch it, woke up to like some commercial or something. It was like 1 a.m. Missed it.
I'll be honest with you, I kind of did the same thing. Darnold gets some criticism, right? It's like when he's in these big games, does he choke a little bit? He had a couple big interceptions, but he brought that team back. I give him a lot of credit. Seattle, they have a good defense. You wouldn't think it, giving up 37 points to the Rams, but good defense, huge win. I had texted you that before that game that I was taking the Rams plus 1.5. So I actually hit that, believe it or not. I believe, Kevin, remind me what you did. Oh, yeah.
I was under.
You put 200 on the under, which did not hit. By the way, I put 400 on the Rams for that game.
So that was a great football game.
Yeah.
Man, watching the Rams in that first half, they just move the ball and it's so effortless.
I saw them, Kevin. I want to say they came to Indy 3 years ago. Might have even been 4 years. I think it might have been the first year Stafford was with the Rams. You're right. He moved the ball down the field so effortlessly. And even Jill, my wife, she was like, I've never seen a team move the ball like that. Like it just looks effortless. 457 yards and 3 touchdowns. I mean,
he has that look that he's just so calm, so cool, so in the moment. Like nothing's too big. He scores a touchdown. It's a little bit of a celebration and stuff, but he doesn't look surprised they scored a touchdown. He looks like
nope.
This was the game plan. This is the way we drew it up. And credit to McVay, right?
Agree.
I saw him run like 3 plays out of the same set, 3 different ways. I think if I was to guess, it was a read, like between the quarterback and receiver communication, which you get with a Stafford, right? Who's been around the league and has just total control of that offensive unit. But I think McVay deserves a lot of credit for their success. He is definitely on his game, on top of his game. He's at the peak.
Is he one of the best coaches in the NFL?
Right now, yeah.
I think he is.
Yeah, now.
Do you know his talent of, if you go to him and say, McVay, 6 years ago, you were playing the Raiders, and in the second quarter, it was 2nd down and 6. You had the ball. What did you run? And he'll name the play that he ran and tell you what happened. Like he has this photographic memory.
Yeah, I mean, they're special guys, right? I mean, much like being a quarterback in the NFL, if you achieve a head coach in the NFL, it's a big deal. And so, yeah, these are special people. They'd be special if they were running Johnson & Johnson. You know what I mean? They're just...
Good point.
They're just different, special people. Their talent just happens to be football.
Yeah. Well, Kevin, we've got 2 games today. First one kicks off
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. Yeah. So Philly at Washington. Washington is +7. Total is 44.5. And I'm happy. Go ahead. You want to go first?
I'm going over.
You're going over. Interesting. 300 over. I'm going under, and I'll go for 300 under. So
okay.
See if my week gets worse. This is great. And then we've got the late game today. Really good game. Green Bay at Chicago. Chicago -1.5. The total is 45.5. I am going to take Green Bay plus the 1.5 or 300.
Go Pack, go. This is the first one we've had. $100.
Well, I don't think it is the first one. Let us, $500. Let me remind everybody of your pick last week, which was your 5-star lock of the year.
I hit it, right?
No, you did not hit it. It was the Cowboys, and it was a lock. You said take the Cowboys. They lose to the Vikings 34-26. Just saying. All right, let's look at tomorrow. Hey, we're going to talk about your Cowboys right now. Dallas, it's the Chargers at Dallas. Dallas is -2.5. Total is 49.5. What do you want to do?
I'm going over for 300.
I'm going to take the Chargers plus the 2.5 for, I'll do 300. Next, we've got Minnesota at the New York Giants. The Giants are plus 2.5. The total is 43.5.
I would like to venture 300 to not have to bet this game.
Yeah, this is no clue,
Yeah.
right?
What's the over-under? I might stick with this.
40.5.
I'm going to go over for 300. There's certain weeks in the NFL where overs hit, and if this is the week, I'm going to do well.
I'm going to do Minnesota minus the 2.5, and I'll do 300.
Are there really any winners in that game?
There is not. It's not pretty. That's
in New York, right?
That is in New York.
And I'm pretty sure I saw like that you could get a ticket for $23 or something. I swear to you.
All right, we've got Buffalo traveling to Cleveland. Cleveland's getting 10.5 at home. Total is 41.5. Is this a little bit of a trap game, maybe? Buffalo coming off the big win against New England?
100% a trap game, but I am going to take Buffalo, and I'm going to do 200.
Buffalo, 200. Yeah, I'm not crazy. I'm going to do Buffalo for 300, and I'll give up the 10.5 points. A game that, again, many people will not watch. The Jets are at New Orleans. New Orleans isn't playing bad football. They had a huge win against Carolina last week. They're not a bad football team.
Are they starting to shuck again?
I think so. I'm almost certain. They are -5.5 at home against the Jets. The total is 40.5. And I'll pick this one first. I'm going to go with the Saints for 300 minus the 5.5.
I'll do the Saints. I'll do the Saints for 300 as well.
Okay. Probably one of the games of the week, Kevin. Tampa at Carolina. We talked about this one. Carolina not getting a lot of respect. They're getting 3 points at home. The total is 40.5.
I'm taking Carolina for 400.
I am also going to take Carolina for 400.
Where'd you get that amount from?
I just copy you. I did all the work to know how can I beat you this week. All right, Cincinnati at Miami. Miami's getting 4.5 at home. The total is 47.5.
I am going to take Cincinnati for 500.
Oh, wow, another big one for Kevin. I'm also going to take Cincinnati. I'll do 300.
I keep betting on Burrow, and he's got to be frustrated. He's got to be like, they need a win. They need success. They need to feel good. And you leave Cincinnati, you land in Florida. It's hard to not feel good. I'm going to go with the Bengals.
All right. I did the same for 300. This is a surprise. I get it, but Kansas City Chiefs are at Tennessee. Tennessee's only getting 2.5 points at home against Kansas City. Never would have I seen that line at the beginning of the season. Obviously, Mahomes is out. I'll go first. I am comfortably going to take Kansas City minus the 2.5, and I'll do it for 400. Let me tell you why. Gardner Minshew is not a bad quarterback.
No, and you're going to get a guy who wants to get film, right? I mean, if that guy has a good game, a good finish to the season, what does that buy him? It could buy him 3 more years in the league, right?
Yeah.
So these are big. That's a big game for him.
Yeah. And look, this is an Andy Reid coach team. It's a professional team. They're going to come to play. They still have a really good defense. Again, I feel pretty good Kansas City 400. What about you?
I'm gonna do Tennessee, but
All
200.
right.
Tennessee for 200.
All right.
After I just got done telling you Gardner Minshew and how important
Yeah.
this game is to him, and that's a guy that people play for. That's a guy that gets some excitement out of his players. But I'm going to go contrarian and take Tennessee.
I give you credit because I feel like both of us have been on this. Like every week, we just expect it to be that Kansas City team of the past. And we keep going forward with Kansas City. Again, Mahomes being hurt out for the year. That makes a big difference. Really good game here. This is a 4:00 game. Jacksonville at Denver. Denver minus 3.5. The total is 46.5.
I'm going to go over for 300, Jamie, in what I think will be a very, very entertaining game.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Denver minus the 3.5. I think Jacksonville going to Denver, as hot as Jacksonville's been, that's a tough place to play. I'm going to say Denver keeps going. I do think at some point a loss would be good before they head into the playoffs. But yeah, I'll go with Denver for I'll put 300 on it. Atlanta is at Arizona. This is not a good game. 4:00 game. Arizona's plus 2.5, and the total is 48.5.
Yep. I just flipped a coin. Go with
What do you-
Arizona for 300.
Arizona plus the 2.5 for 300. Yeah, I have no idea what to do here.
How much would you charge to watch that game every play? $200? I mean, that's honestly 2.5 hours of your life you're not getting back. Right? Just no juice to
Yeah.
that game. Just whoa.
No excitement.
Nope.
I'll do the under for 300. That was my coin toss.
Yeah.
Big game for both of these teams. Pittsburgh's at Detroit. Detroit is minus 6.5 at home. The total is 51.5. Must win for both teams. I'll go first here, Kevin. I'm going to take Detroit minus the 6.5 for 300.
I'm going to take the Steelers and the points for 200.
All right.
Last time Steelers were there, though, big Super Bowl.
That's right.
One of the last times.
Was Seattle, right? Was that the Seattle win?
I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it was a Seattle win.
Was that the one that the receiver, the quarterback from Georgia, was the MVP of? Boy, isn't that horrible? He's a receivers coach now. He would throw the ball for the Steelers and
Oh, yeah.
What was his
Not
name, though?
Antoine Randall?
No, after. He was a devastating blocker. He would just crack people. That's going to drive me nuts.
We'll find out. We will definitely find out. Let's see. Sunday night game. Well, I no, this is not a Sunday night game. Las Vegas Raiders at the Houston Texans. That's a 4:25 start. Houston's minus 14.5 at home. Over under is 37.5. It's a lot of points.
But that's a ton of points in the NFL.
Yeah. This is still a Pete Carroll coach team.
Yeah, I'm going to do the under. I'm going to do the under for 200. Boy, I don't have a feel for that game at all.
No, I don't either. I'm going to join you on the under for 200. I have no idea what to think there. All right, Sunday night game. Good game. New England at Baltimore. Must win for Baltimore, although they're on life support. Baltimore is minus 2.5 at home. Kind of surprises me. Total is 48.5. And Kevin, I am going to go for the total for 300.
I'm going to match your 300, but I'm going to take the Patriots in what I will call the turn out the lights in Baltimore game.
Yeah. That's good. Orioles are making some news. They made another trade yesterday, so maybe those Baltimore fans can start pivoting to baseball a little bit.
On my Yankee feeds, I don't get a lot of Orioles updates. We're not all that concerned with them. all the
Well,
time, but
that's all right, Kevin. You continue to not make any moves. Like the Red Sox and Yankees are the only teams not making moves in that division. Toronto is the new beast of the East.
and they are
Anyway,
though. They are. They're
they're
tough.
good.
Yeah.
They are tough.
Yeah.
All right, last game. I will be in Indy in the Lucas Oil Stadium for this one. San Fran is at Indianapolis. Indy getting 5.5 at home. The total is 46.5. Kevin, I'm going to take the home team because I feel like I have to, and I'm going to put 400 on Indy plus the 5.5.
I'm going to go under for 300.
Under for 300. I want to just see here when you
So
look at San.
what's your just to change on a dime, I'm sorry to interrupt. What's
No,
your
go.
game plan for Monday night? Because I've
Yeah,
been to
so
Lucas Oil, been there with you. It's a fun town. What do you guys like to do?
So tomorrow we are pretty close with season ticket holders right around us. We're actually going to dinner, a nice dinner before the game, and then we're gonna head to Lucas Oil and watch it.
Where will you go to
Yeah,
dinner? Like what, downtown somewhere or?
yeah, downtown there's a nice restaurant, nice steakhouse they just put in. So we're gonna live it up a little bit, maybe get some of the wine flowing, and then head to the game.
Everything's
So yeah,
walkable, right? You'll walk.
everything's walkable. I mean, you've been there. That's what's
It's
great
the
about
best. It's the
Indianapolis.
best.
It really is. For any type of big event, we do a lot of NCAA events downtown. They get a lot of pro wrestling, Pacers, obviously. Everything is walkable. And what's really nice is if you know the way, you can actually do a lot of walking inside. They have tunnels and stuff built throughout the city.
I didn't know
So
that, which would have been
it's
nice.
real. Yeah, when it's cold out, to be able to do that, it is really nice. I do want to talk really quick about San Francisco because I don't think not teams, I don't think people like you and I maybe appreciate their body of work. Like they've kind of been this quiet team that maybe we discounted, or at least I did at one time or another. You know, they only have 4 losses on the year. Purdy was out with injuries for a good part of the year. They could be a sleeper in the playoffs.
That's actually interesting you bring that up. I wasn't thinking about them. You're 100% right. Maybe we do just sort of take them for granted, and they did go over there. They did make it through their rough time with Purdy sideline. You know, it'd be an interesting thing. What the odds for the 49ers to win the Super Bowl would be. I bet there's great value there.
I have FanDuel open. Let me see if I can pull it up.
That may be something worth putting a few shekels on and see.
So who do you think? So let me play a little game with you. Who do you think is favored to win the Super Bowl right now?
The Rams?
Rams. Any idea? You want to give me a
Would they be around plus 500?
yeah, plus 490. Really good.
Yeah.
That's good. Who do you think is next on the list?
Seattle.
Seattle is plus 550.
Those odds, but it is, I forget that. It's not getting to the Super Bowl. It's winning the Super
It's
Bowl.
winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, which always changes that number.
So you had asked about San Francisco. Plus 1,800.
I think there's value there.
I think there's a lot of value. It's interesting. They're ahead of Jacksonville. Jacksonville is plus 2,000. Then you get the Ravens at plus 2,200. How the heck does Chicago fall below the Ravens? Chicago's plus 2,500.
Ask the NCAA committee, the playoff committee.
Good point. Good point.
No, that's I'm not ready to give the Bears.
I get it.
I'm not ready to say this is the Bears. This is the Bears for a long time. This is a team that's going to win. They're having a great year. A great year. I don't know if it's just that. Is it just one great year? I don't know.
That's fair.
People love their coach. People love their coach, Ben Johnson. The Bears.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
They love him. Like they think the world of him.
Mastermind.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep.
So you talked about the Rams, Seattle. Buffalo is third at plus 800. Denver is fourth at plus 850. and then the Eagles go to plus 1,000, which I might have the Eagles up a little higher just because they have the Super Bowl experience. Your Packers, by the way, are plus 1,100, and my Colts are plus 50,000.
Wow. So you're
See what
saying there's a
happens.
chance.
They're not the worst. The last team on this list that still has a chance, the Dallas Cowboys, are plus 100,000. Maybe you can make a 5-star prediction there.
I think my 5 stars with the Cowboys are over for now.
All right. Well, listen, Kevin, we did it again. Went through the NFL, went through college
Quick
football.
question. I gotta
Yes,
say
sir.
something. Bo
Yeah.
Prabula, our
Yeah.
local guy, back in the mix. Is Missouri's head coach the next coach at Michigan?
You tell me.
Why does Bo Prabula out of the entire country pick Missouri, have a good year, solid year, and then enter the portal? It's because his coaches told him he's gone.
Well, it's
I
so
think he's in
interesting.
Michigan.
That would be really exciting.
I don't know. I think he's going wherever that coach goes.
My dog has a lot of thoughts on this. Like, she has a lot of thoughts on this. She's saying Michigan. So she agrees with you.
He's a smart dog.
The high school that my daughter went to is a quarterback now at Wisconsin. He actually started as a freshman at San Diego State last year and then transferred to Wisconsin. So it's always fun to see the local kids do well. And yeah, it would be great to see Bo, like, be on the big stage.
I can't imagine you make a move like that. You make a decision like that, and after 1 year, you enter the portal again. Because that coach at Missouri is an offensive guy. He's good, and I gotta think that Bo Prabula went there because of him.
But don't you think there's whispers in his ear? Hey, you can go to Michigan. You can be the starting quarterback at Michigan, or the starting quarterback at a big name Big Ten school or SEC school. Like, this is about his future. And
Yeah,
I think kids with the transfer portal are going to do everything in their own self-interest, and I would do the same thing.
Well, I don't know. I look at that kid. Nobody ever said he could be a college quarterback, and he proved them wrong. And so I've always been a big fan of him. I think he got a bad shake at Penn State. I don't think he was utilized properly. I don't think he was given a fair opportunity.
Yeah.
And I've always followed him, obviously being from York and stuff. But man, I just, when he entered that portal, that's the only thing that came to mind. And I could be totally wrong. I mean, maybe he's going to get $5 million to go to some school. Who knows? People are paying, so I don't know.
Look, after having the year he had, you do think that he could get a starting job somewhere pretty prestigious. And again, good for him. We're playing within the new rules now, so this is what you can do.
Yeah. Yep. And it's a brand new world in college football.
So you got big Christmas plans?
Not especially. We're all home. We're all home together. Girls are back, and we're having some fun.
It's always a good time of year, right?
Oh, it's the best. Right now, I think it's like the best because
Love it.
not a lot going on, and people are just sort of having fun, and people are happy, positive and stuff. So, no, everything's good. We're good. We got a little downtime. We don't have any Christmas tournaments, which is odd.
Yeah.
So we'll go 2 weeks without a game for basketball, but we still have practice and stuff. But
Sure.
I don't know. Really looking forward to it. How about you? Anything?
We do this annual Christmas show downtown that we're going to go to this afternoon, and it's been our thing since we've lived out here. It's a really good production. Love it. So we're doing that today. Otherwise, tomorrow will be football all day. Monday, we've got the Monday night game. But yeah, the next 2 weeks, it's just going to be laying low. Probably do a lot of podcasts. And let's jump on. We keep talking about bringing guests on. It might be a great time to do that. So
you know what? Maybe,
yeah. So let's do that. Really appreciate all the listeners. We're getting a lot of views out there. Please keep passing along the information. And Kevin, I'll see you soon. We probably need to record before Christmas because there are some Christmas games. So we'll be back at it the next.
I think we should hit the
days.
prison system.
We could do that.
I think we would be big in there. They got free time. They have about 45 minutes they could give us. We should start promoting in the penal system.
Well, as soon as we get our sponsors going, maybe they can point us in the right direction. So.
We'll see. We'll see.
All right, man. Well, listen, good talking to you. Have a good weekend. And thank you all for listening.
You do the same. Send me a picture from Lucas.
Will do.
Have fun that night, man.
All right.
See you.
All right. So that's it for the podcast for this week for football. Big thanks to Kevin for coming on again. Love doing this show with him. For those of you that don't really know him, he is so knowledgeable of football and a great friend. We've been friends for a really long time. Again, my goal is to get more people involved with this. Kevin is great. There are a lot of other friends that both Kevin and I have that are very interested in football. If you want to talk football, baseball, entertainment, anything, please let me know. Just email me, jamie@tellusellis.com. Follow me on social media. You can follow me on all my channels, X and Instagram, @TellUsEllisHQ. And of course, we're on YouTube @TellUsEllisMedia. I'm going to try to do at least one more podcast before Christmas, probably two. One being with Kevin to do the upcoming football slate for next week, which gets off to an early kickoff on Christmas Day. But I want to do another rewind sessions, and this one focused on movies and specifically on a Christmas movie I have in mind. So I'm going to probably record that in the next day or two, and I'll put it up. Got a lot of really good feedback on Billy Joel Greatest Hits Volumes 1 and 2. Appreciate everybody listening to that. So I'm not going to say Merry Christmas yet because you're going to see me again before Christmas, but I hope everybody's enjoying the vibe of the holidays and all that goes with it. So until next time, have a great rest of your week and rest of your weekend, and look forward to talking to everybody again. See ya.